Hello there, stressed out people. I'm assuming you're stressed out if you're here. I'm also hoping you've watched most of the previous videos before this one and that you have started to put into practice some of the ways of de-stressing yourself and distancing yourself from your causes of stress. Today we're going to continue because there are a lot of things that we can do to reduce stress and to reduce the effects of stress. So today we're going to continue with not mindfulness exactly, but making ourselves happy or happier, and we can do that by engaging ourselves, indulging ourselves in something which pleases us. I'm talking about hobbies. And most of us at some time or other have dabbled with a hobby. Some of us take it seriously. These can be a source of focus, a source where you get totally absorbed in them. But other things can be just something that you do for fun and doesn't require full concentration, but it's just a little bit of time out for you. And it can be, I don't need to tell you what a hobby is. A hobby is, something which you're not paid to do, which you take a lot of interest in. It can be as passive as collecting things. So some people used to collect and continuously look at their stamp collection. There are similar activities which require a little more input, and a classic one would be photography, and everybody nowadays has a phone with a camera in. Even I know somebody who prides herself on it's almost a stubborn reaction. She will not have a smartphone. She has to have a retro phone, and trust me, she's not a hipster. This is just a point of pride with her. However, that phone has got a camera in it, and she uses it to take pictures of her nearest and dearest, and occasionally it comes in handy for other emergency situations. But with a smartphone, the whole business of photography is expanded simply because of the amount of free apps that there are available to take the photos and enhance them. And there are also on YouTube many tutorials showing you how to do exactly that. So you can take something fairly humdrum and simply by tweaking the amount of color in it and the balance of the light and the exposure, you can end up with something which would have been totally impossible without a very well equipped darkroom 20-30 years ago. Other hobbies would be, what is common? Making, I'm going to take a lot of flack for this, I'm sure, but especially at the moment when it's not exactly feasible. But if you've got the time and the resources, things like riding on trains and going locally to visit nearby towns, just getting to know them, visiting their, if they have any museums or art galleries, going and spending a pleasant hour or two in a local cafe, the local parks there, and just getting out of your own environment, your hometown. And it's going to cost a little bit of money, obviously, but just exploring, gardening I've mentioned a few times, but it doesn't have to be outdoor gardening. You could cultivate plants indoors, whether they're bonsai or cactuses and succulents, or just those little miniature gardens in bottles. There are many ways to this. You could cultivate mushrooms, and on a related note, you could, if you're partial to alcohol, brew your own wine, brew your own beer. Baking is very popular at the moment because of COVID-19, but there are other forms of cooking which are non-mainstream, and they include cake decoration, exotic breads, and what's it called? It's like fermenting foods such as sauerkraut and kimchi, and pickling. That's it. Pickling and preserving, which would include preserving fruit and jams. So I don't believe that there's any shortage of hobby ideas, but if you are stumped for something to do, to take up as a hobby, if you think this would be a good idea, then go to Google and ask it examples of hobbies. A lot of the answers, I have done this, a lot of the answers you'll get back will be why hobbies are important to put on your resume, i.e. your curriculum vitae, and what they tell a prospective employer about you. So bear that in mind. But as prompts for ideas, then it's there. Go explore and start getting your mind out of your little or big area of problems, and just give yourself a break, a mental and a physical and an emotional break, by indulging in a hobby of some sort. Okay, I hope your stress levels are starting to go down now, and you're starting to see things in a better perspective, and that you are starting to see areas where you can go on the attack and thereby lower your stress levels, which will in turn, in a virtuous circle, lead to a rising of your happiness levels. I was going to say your emotional state, to the point where you are happy, which is what I really mean, because as I've said several times, happiness is and should be the default state. It's when you are in perfect emotional health from a stress point of view. Okay, so if you think you're going to, well, write in the comment below in as few words as possible, 1, 2, 3 words. What is your hobby? What do you do, or what do you intend to take up? What do you think? What have you always wanted to take up? Let me know that as well. Okay, good night.